You're watching.
You're watching.
You're watching
The How About Now podcast.
the How About Now podcast.
The How About Now podcast.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the How About Now podcast. I got my boy, the man, the myth, the legend. He's a killer on the phone. He's a killer in real life. He's handsome, aspiring GQ model, and probably one of the coolest dudes I've met personally. This is my good brother, Jacob Bolton. How you doing, brother?
Dude, I'm great. I appreciate the intro there.
Hey, yeah. So if you're wondering why this was so good, it's because this was my second take because the audio was not recording. So with that being said, we're fucking rolling.
And when he says I'm a killer, I'm not an actual killer. Just to clarify here,
just to
anyone
clarify,
watching,
No Bundy, you know?
no Bundy.
Yeah, it's like no Diddy, but no Bundy, you know?
But yeah, dude, nailed
Anyway.
the intro. You nailed the intro.
I appreciate it. We were talking about hiking, and just to give you guys a synopsis of what the last 5 minute looked like before we had some technical difficulties. The homie was talking about a hike he did, rim to rim, 24 miles, the training, the endurance training, and you were just touching on your buddy Tommy not preparing as well as he probably should have.
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like?
Yeah, so it was. So we were obviously going through the whole training process from no endurance. I mean, literally for maybe 5 years of doing no like really endurance training and being like, okay, we're gonna hike the Grand Canyon, 24 miles, all this elevation gain, and we talked about a training plan. Like he and I talked about it. Used a little chat GPT to make a guide for us, you know, something to work off of. And we both started following the plan. Tommy did not continue on the plan. Yep. And so his training wasn't there. His nutrition wasn't there because he just didn't, you know, he didn't prepare and he didn't know what to expect. And so, yeah, we get 19 miles in, 20 miles in, and he's just tanking fast. And so we take a break. There's like a series when you go through the Grand Canyon. There's like some different stops. There's like restrooms, places you can fill up water, stuff like that. Sure. Yeah. Have you been to the Grand Canyon?
I've been. I was probably like 10, 11 years old, and it was just like, look at the Grand Canyon. Yeah. But like to say I haven't been like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you've been to it, but maybe not like down in.
Yeah, definitely not down in. Just like the park where you can literally just go look at it. It looks like a green screen. It looks like fake, right?
It does. Yeah, something about it, like the depth perception or whatever. Yeah, it looks crazy.
Yeah, I think it's just like the actuality of like, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit. You just can't even fathom what it looks like until you go there and you're like, there's no fucking way this little Colorado River did this. Like, no way.
And even if you don't hike across it, it's worth going to check out and see, right? But they have these, so yeah, as you go through the canyon, there's different spots you can stop, fill up water. There's campsites, like all this stuff.
Oh, really? On the way down?
Yeah. So you can stop.
Do you have to rent them? Like, do you have to like?
Yeah, you can like rent a campsite or reserve a campsite. There's like 2 or 3 spots you can stop and camp. So yeah, you can do that. We didn't. We were just like, all right, let's do it in one go. North rim to south rim, 24 miles, one day. And we thought like 12, 13 hours we could get it done, which is...
That's reasonable.
Right, like maybe a little ambitious, but that's like 30 minutes a mile. Stop and take some breaks, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
We thought, okay, maybe, and if it takes a little bit longer than that, no big deal.
I'm loving the build-up here.
Right.
All right.
So we're going along. We get 19, 20 miles in, and Tommy's just like not feeling great. And so we stop at one of these, you know, water fill-ups, refill our water. We have, you know, a little bit of food, and we start going again. And maybe 5 minutes after we leave that rest area, he starts throwing up.
Oh, he's down bad.
Down bad. And this is still, we have 5,000 feet to climb out and another 4 miles to go.
It's not that hot either because the elevation either, right? Was it bad?
It actually got pretty hot, dude.
Yeah.
So there's a stop called Phantom Ranch, like right in the, like down in the middle of the canyon. And it was like 95 degrees.
Oh, shit.
That
So
day.
he's dealing with the endurance of the hike and that Arizona heat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It got super tough. So before you leave, before you hike back out, the park rangers, they'll recommend like get in the river, get your shirt wet, get your hat wet, try to stay cool as much as you can. And then there's 2 trails you can take on the way out. One is fully exposed. You're going to be in sun the whole time, but it's like 3 miles shorter. or you can take the one that has a little less sun exposure and hike an extra 3 miles. So they recommended take the one that's not full sun. It's extra distance, but you won't die in the heat.
Yeah.
And so we go that way. And we went into this planning to go the shorter route. And so change of plans. We're
Extra
adding
3 miles.
an extra 3 miles
Oh.
at mile 19 or 20. And so we start going. He gets sick. We're just trying to keep moving. We've got 4 miles left. I'm like, hey, I know you feel terrible. Let's keep going. Get another mile down the trail or up the trail. And he just keeps getting worse and worse. And it's to the point where he's laying down, like just laying on rocks.
It's like lethargic.
Dude, throwing up. He's like, let me just sleep for a few minutes. So I'm like, all right, take 5-10 minutes, sleep, get up, walk for 2 minutes.
Tommy, we love you.
Yeah.
Tommy, we love you.
Yeah,
dude.
100%. Yeah, love you, Tommy. Man,
That's so tough.
we've joked about it, for the last 6 months, but yeah. So we finally get out of there. The last half mile, his girlfriend's waiting for us because she dropped us off on the North Rim. She drove all the way around 6 hours to the South Rim to pick us up. You can take a shuttle. It's like $120. You can take a shuttle, but she was awesome. She was a huge part of this, but she was there waiting, and so I finally get cell signal again. I'm texting her. I'm like, hey, he is not doing well, but we're only like half a mile away. She was like, should I come down there? And I was like, honestly, I think that's what he needs. Like, I don't want to say lying to this man, but I've been telling him, hey, we only got 2 miles to go when we really have 3. Hey, we only got a half mile left. We've got like a full mile to go. Just trying to keep him motivated. So she finally comes down, brings some Gatorade and some other things,
Nice.
and he lights up a little bit. We finally get out of there, and then made a couple phone calls, and we're like, oh, he might actually need to go to the hospital. Like, he's been down bad for like hours now.
Like that, huh?
It took us, dude. We started at 5 a.m. on the North Rim. We didn't finish until after 11 p.m. on the South Rim. So, whatever that is, 17,
16, 17 hours, yeah.
something like that. So, yeah, he was just in bad shape. So we stopped. We drove an hour to Flagstaff, or 2 hours to Flagstaff. Got him in the ER, got him some liquids, and he ended up being okay.
Got an IV in him.
Yeah,
The boy needed it.
but definitely did not prepare. Definitely didn't train enough, and so yeah, leading into like current marathon prep, it's like the training is super important.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
How's it going for you? I know, like, we'll get into it here.
Yeah, it's been good, man. So you and I had talked at the beginning of the year about the little context, but about how we were wanting to do something that defined our year, the Masoji philosophy. And so for the first 3 months of the year, right, me and Shreen were doing 75 hard. And that was super good, but it really just walking would run probably maybe once or twice a week, maybe, right?
Yeah.
2.5 miles per run, nothing crazy. And so I will say from walking, like, that it does something. It's not running by any means, but I'm used to movement, right? And like having, hey, we got to go on a 45-minute walk. We got to do this.
That time on feet.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm used to that. But just in the past 2 weeks, so I was telling you, went to Squat Up Summit and we saw David Goggins.
Wait, he was at Squat Up?
Bro, he was the last speaker.
Oh, I
at
did
Squat
not.
Up.
That's not what I didn't know that's what you meant.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it was
incredible.
super. Yeah, it was super gangster. So I got to see him in person, which was cool. I mean, obviously he's on stage, but it was super inspiring. He was talking about this ultra marathon that he was doing. This was like years and years ago, where he came up with the 40% rule, and essentially he had never run more than like 20 miles at a time, and he was going to do a charity event. This guy was like, hey, if you want to do this run through Death Valley, you need to do this run at in San Diego. It's on a track, 100 miles in under 24 hours. Never trained, nothing. It's on Wednesday. Saturday is the race. So he's like, all right, I'm fucking David Goggins. So he goes and he does it. He's at mile 70, and he says he sits down. He's hurting so bad, he ends up shitting on himself. Pisses, it's blood, right? He's just in the worst pain. And he ends up getting up, just says, all right, if I can just make it to the little snack table, get water, get a snack, that's the first step. all right, if I could just start walking, second step. If I can get around that first bend, third step. He's like, and the whole point of the story was if you do things in incremental steps, those 30 miles get cut into 100 different little steps, right? And so after hearing that, I literally came back and I'm like, dude, if this motherfucker ran 70 miles, like, yeah, he was a SEAL, but I'm like that, dude. I can run a marathon, no doubt. And so I would say the beginning of my marathon training for real, probably has started end of March. Because I was running before Squat Up just a little bit, a few times a week.
Mm-hmm.
But now for the past week, 2 weeks, it's been 4 miles, 2.5 miles. So my 4 mile runs are just a good 4 mile run. And then the 2.5 mile run, I'll do tempo. So like the first day I started, I did a 8 minute and 57 second mile on the 2.5 mile, and then I did it last night. Got down to 8 minutes and 7:58. So just trying to push the tempo and do different types of runs. And then like Saturday is my long run where I'll do 5 miles, and then every week leading up to it, I'll add a mile.
Gotcha. So,
So
5 miles, 6, 7,
yeah,
so on.
exactly. And so it's been good. It's been solid. I will say this though, the first 3, 4 runs, like really getting back to it, those first 4 mile runs, you're like,
Brutal.
bitch,
Dude.
yeah.
I I would love to look back on this conversation right here post race and see how we're feeling. The 100 miles you mentioned on a track from David Goggins is insane, by the way.
Bro,
I couldn't imagine doing that on a track.
bro.
400 laps.
Yeah, he did 100 miles in 19 hours.
That's insane.
Yeah, bro, that's insane. That takes a little bit of crazy, but hey, you know what?
Like you said, break it up into steps. So with your tempo run, it's 2.5 miles, but you're just running that at a faster pace,
Yeah,
trying to work on the speed.
yeah, just really trying to work on exactly, trying to work on the speed, and then that's gonna level up. Like next week, it's gonna be a 3 mile run, leveling up the speed. But just so, cause like long distance, I can eat. To be honest with you, I'll eat long distance running. Like I think I could probably do, right now, probably 8 miles without stopping. Just a good solid jog. Like whenever I do my 4 mile one, I'm not hurting in my body or in my lungs. Like I can keep going. Obviously, it's nice to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's always nice to stop.
my yeah, no kidding. My goal for the marathon, and I want to hear yours as well, is to do it under 5 hours.
Okay.
So that's like an 11 minute mile, and I'm averaging on my long runs, and these are long runs, but I'm averaging like 9 minutes 30 seconds, which isn't bad. So I
Yep.
think if I can just keep it under 10, I'll be happy, and then that'll put me at like 4:30.
Yeah. So okay. So and this is how new I am to running, at least racing and stuff like that. So if you did, I just don't know the math. If you did a 10-minute mile, through that whole marathon, what do you come out to?
A 10 minute mile will come out to like 4 hours and I want to
And
say
some
4 hours
change.
and 20 seconds or
Okay.
4 hours and 20 minutes.
So just
Something
over.
like
Okay.
that.
So 5 hours sounds like a super obtainable goal, but you're also talking about what we're 7 weeks away.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
gonna be a feat for sure.
yeah.
One of the things too that I'm kind of I don't want to say disappointed, but I wish I would be documenting the journey. But I've told you this, but for the past month, 32 days, I've been on a social media fast, and so like I can create the content, I can post the content, but because I'm not on it, I just don't have the need to. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Yep.
getting well, it's not that I need to be inspired, but it's just not occupying my mind. It's not in my bandwidth. So as soon as I'm done with this fast, not this Sunday, next Sunday, I'm just gonna start documenting the journey and just getting on it.
But I love it. I'm a month out from running my first marathon. Have you run a marathon before?
No.
Okay, so first marathon, and you decided this like 3 or 4 months before you chose the date.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm kind of crazy, dude. Honestly. Well, me and you talked about this in like
Mm-hmm.
January, so you can't see it right now, but we have the big ass calendar,
Yeah.
and we're like choosing. Okay, what do I want to do this year? And so I was thinking, and my instant thought was like, oh, I can run a marathon, but that's fucking easy. And then I had to check myself and like, really, is it? Is it easy? And so, yeah, I think 75 hard. I don't want to make excuses, but it was really easy to go on walks with Shireen and that be one of the workouts where it's like if I went and ran, now she has to do her own workout. So like part of it, and this is all me, no excuses, but part of it was just wanting to like do all those things with her. And so as soon as 75 hard was over, I'm like, all right, it's time to roll. But I'm excited, dude. I think, like we talked about it, I think if I don't hit the number that I want to hit, I think I'll do another one by the end of the year.
I like that.
Which would be crazy, go from no marathons to 2 marathons in a year. No, I'm not promising that, but I just know how I am, like on the golf course. Like I'll shoot like at 88, and I'm like, oh, dude, I can go play another 18 and get a fucking 82.
I can hit under 85.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think we have very different. So like we both set the goal of like, all right, let's do a marathon this year, right? Like let's do something hard, do something challenging. But we went about it, I think, a little differently.
100%.
So
What's yours been like?
so I'm like, hey, I've never done a race ever before, brand new to endurance, right? Like less than a year of like endurance training and I mean months of actual running. And I would say really like my run training has just been maybe the last 6 to 8 weeks. And super consistently for like maybe 6. And then just like sporadic runs before that, right? And even right now, I'm still not doing necessarily like a tempo workout every week. Like I'll do easy runs and a long run. So I'm still like tweaking the process, right? I'm still trying to like figure out what I can do because I'm lifting as well. So I'm doing some
Oh, that's
hybrid
good.
training.
That's good.
So I'm lifting like 4 days a week and then trying to run, running sore, you know, trying to all these things.
It's important to lift too, bro, because like when you run, it eats your muscle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, anyways, keep going. I'm glad you're doing that.
So with that said, and just kind of like, you know, being competitive, I would like to put up what I feel like is a competitive time. And so for me, I was like, let me do a half marathon first. And maybe it's maybe there's two sides to this, but let me do a half marathon first, see how that goes, and then from there do the full marathon if I feel like that's the next step for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess maybe a different goal,
Different approach.
approach.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I would love to do the full marathon in sub 4 hours.
Yeah. That's gangster.
So we'll see.
You could do it. It's not impossible by any means, dude. I think from mile like 18 and on, I think that's where it probably gets like super tough to hit those.
That's where the race starts.
Markers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. They call it I'm sure you've watched YouTube and the whole nine, but they call it like the wall.
Yeah.
At some point you hit it. I'm interested to see where that's gonna be because I think. I mean, this is my philosophy on it, but like I like to do hard shit, right? So like 75 hard. Hey, that's tough. That takes some rigor. Like that really takes rigor to do 2 workouts, drink a gallon of water a day. And bro, I weigh $135 soaking wet. So a gallon a day was tough for me because I'm pissing like every hour on the hour.
Yeah, I bet.
And then I'm not kidding,
I
bro.
believe it.
I'm not kidding. And then it's funny, Shireen laughs at me, but like whenever I was little, my mom would make me go pee right before I went to bed. So like if I go pee before I go to bed, but it's been like 20 minutes, I'm like, I just gotta go get whatever I got out. Anyways,
That's hilarious.
a little sidetrack, but point being, you hear the dogs. Anyways, point being, doing this marathon training, I've noticed for myself throughout the years, I like to keep myself challenged. Like doing this little social media fast. I say little, but it's like 45 days, bro. And it's been, bro, no YouTube, no Instagram, no Facebook. The only sense of social media I get is going on the Facebook groups and posting or interacting with people's posts to JV on deals and stuff.
Purely business.
And it's been nice, bro. Like not being consumed with the fervor and energy of this world. It's like people tell me shit that's going on and I'm like, I couldn't even tell you what's going on. Like that's really happening. So that's been nice. But back to the marathon, I think it's gonna be super interesting in 3, 4, 5 months from now, going back and watching this and being like.
So let me ask you this, yeah, because this is going to be very interesting to look back on. I can't wait for that after post marathon on June 1st, which I have another buddy I think that's going to be running that same weekend. So I don't know if he's doing the half or the full. He actually asked me if I want to run it, so we'll see how things go. I don't think I'll be ready for the full, but I might do the half in La Jolla, and then if we can make it work, that half. I think it's like 2 weeks apart.
Are you wanting to just like space out your goal for the year? Like, um, you know what I'm saying? Like I guess
Like, why not just run the marathon?
yeah,
now?
like that's kind of my thing is like I just want to bite the bullet. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's like a detriment to me, but like that's my thought process. Like I just want to fucking get it over with.
I think the difference. I think I want to go out there and put on the best performance that I think I can put on.
Yeah.
And so, could I go out, here in 2 months and like run a marathon and complete it? I think I could like finish
Yeah.
the marathon.
I don't think that's a question. It's
Right.
can you finish it?
Yeah, I
agree.
think I can finish it.
Yeah.
I think for me, so yeah, I think it's part of like the marathon's hard, but it's not just. I learned this in the prep for the Grand Canyon. It's not just like that thing. Like it
Mhm.
wasn't just the hike across the Grand Canyon. It was the months leading up to that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like as cliched as it is, like
no, I like that.
the whole process, but like that whole journey of like learning like, okay, I need to do this for nutrition. I need to do this kind of training to be ready for 6,000 feet of elevation gain. And all these things.
Yeah.
So it's the whole training prep and like that whole journey of getting
Nice.
ready for the big thing that I also really enjoy, as opposed to just like the big thing itself.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, yeah, I want to like go out and put down a massive effort that I'm proud of. And
Yeah. I like the mentality and how that translates into life of like being in love with the journey. You know what I mean? I think it's not easy being in love with the journey, but that's cool that you found a way to like be in love with it, and that's probably speaks to my mentality. Of just want to get to the finish line. You know what I mean? But it's something to learn.
But you hit on it a minute ago where you said like you like having a challenge, or like you like having not necessarily like maybe a project, but like a challenge, like something you're like, hey, this is what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, 100%.
So when you do something, so like on the flip side of that, so you have the marathon goal, you rip the marathon on June 1st. Do you like doing it that way? Because then you can move on to the next thing. You can be like, all right, what's the next challenge? Like I got that checked off the list. What's next?
Yeah, kind of, dude. I think I'm very goal oriented in that capacity of like what's next exactly. And yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm very boom, this, now we're doing this, now we're doing this, now we're doing this. And like it's funny, one of the things that Landon's become notorious for is this saying, consistency compounds. And I guess when I look at it in terms of like the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm really consistent in are the things that I'm obviously getting really better at, right? Like golf, rock climbing. And I think if I look at running, it's probably because I don't really want to run. I just want to do it. And so, yeah, to say that I'm like in love with the journey, I'm definitely just in love with like just fucking getting there, doing it.
That's the battle with running, isn't it? Is like it does suck. Like it sucks. Like it's not many days I go out and I'm like, I wanted to run today.
Not until you're like past that first mile and you're like, oh, dude, this is nice. Like it's a good day. And then you get to the second mile and you're like, fuck this.
Yeah, dude. Usually the first 2 miles I'm just like trying to feel okay, and then after that I'll be like, relatively warmed up.
Have you ran in the morning yet?
Not really. I mean, I've done like some trail runs in the morning.
Yeah.
But like road running, I haven't done a ton of morning. It's usually evening training for me.
Yeah. It's and I applaud everyone who can do it, but it's tough to wake up and like just get after it right away. It's definitely a discipline.
Especially that level of like getting your heart rate up, 160, 170 when you first get up. Yeah, it's tough. It's been a balance too of trying to find, like I mentioned, I'm doing some hybrid training. So I'm lifting 4 days a week and then running 4 or 5 days a week. And then a couple hikes in there as well. So
you got a good regimen.
Yeah,
it's solid. It's holistic.
It's been really good. At least for the last couple months here, and definitely a lot of progress noticed. So, anyways, it's been tough. It's been difficult to find that balance of like, running as hard as it is, doing it on really sore legs, like
yeah, that's tough.
Monday, lifting heavy leg day, running 3 or 4 miles that night.
Yeah,
Tough.
super tough.
Coming
Super
back
tough.
the next day, lifting upper body, running that night with sore legs from the day before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, it's been tough, but I guess that's part of it, right? You're like, hey, I want to run the marathon. If I want to get this goal, I have to do these things to make it happen.
Yeah, I forgot how sore you get from running,
Mm-hmm.
and like just like for the first probably week, my traps were sore just from
Yep.
bouncing and
Stuff you're not used to.
Yeah, that was interesting for me, for sure. Um, Dude,
Feet.
you gotta come rock climbing with us,
100%.
bro. We have 2 free guest passes every month. You guys have to come. That's a different type of soreness that I have yet to experience anywhere else.
Oh, I believe it, dude. Those are muscles you use no other time unless you're doing something like that.
Yeah, it's insane. It's super insane. I will say, I don't know about the best, but like Shireen and I probably looked, probably the best we've looked in probably like a year, 2 years. And this was like taking into account like me boxing
Mm-hmm.
and when I was boxing I was doing like 5 miles 2 times a week,
Okay.
just doing a lot of because it's so much cardio. That's a different type of cardio.
Yeah.
Basketball is too. We went and played basketball at Squad Up.
Oh,
Boy.
yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
Boy, brother, I hadn't played basketball in probably 6, 8 months. Right, we played 4 games, full court,
Oh
and
my.
I ain't no bitch. Mama ain't raised no bitch.
He's
Right.
like, I'm out there.
Yes, and I'm out there, and I just try and tell him, hey, dude, like, I can hoop, I can hoop. Let him go, let him go. And then he got out there, and I started hitting him. But, anyways, like game 3, dude, I'm like sitting there, and you got the phlegm in your
Mhm.
chest, and you're just,
Start tasting pennies.
yes, and that. I'm glad I haven't experienced that in my running training.
Yeah.
But that's also a reason why I wanted to do a higher tempo run, is to
Mhm.
feel that, because I want to feel
That high level of
yeah,
exertion or whatever.
yeah, exactly. I think I have like a little bit of a weird addiction to that. Like I like to like feel absolutely gassed to like the point where you want to throw up. It's I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it just makes me feel like you did it.
It's weird. That's the other tough thing with running too. Like, you feel a lot of times like you left gas in the tank. You're like, oh, today's an easy run. I've got 4 miles or whatever it is, 5 miles, and it's supposed to be an easy run at a slow pace. And then you finish the run, and you're like, I could keep going.
Yeah.
It's-
But then part of you is like, I don't want to keep going.
Yeah. There's always that. Like, well, that's it for today. We hit the mileage.
What's the most you? I love how this is just like turned into a marathon podcast.
Yeah.
This is a Nipsey Hussle podcast, marathon.
Yeah.
Story,
The marathon
baby.
continues.
What's the longest run you've done so far?
7 miles, dude.
That's solid.
7 and some change. So
That's really solid, actually.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So when I say like, dude, we're just at the very beginning stages of like all of this prep and training and everything. Like we really are. I've done some longer hikes.
Your girl's
obviously.
doing it with you. The marathon.
She's gonna be doing it as well.
What a gangster! I love it, dude.
Yeah, the half. She's gonna be doing the
Yeah,
half.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and she's a beast, but I think she could beat me. She might beat
She's
me.
like that, huh?
Yeah, she's got a little bit more. Like she used to run.
Yeah.
So she's got a little bit more training, a little more experience, and she got back to it here the last few months. And yeah, like there's days where I'm like, I
She
can't
cutting
keep up.
up and just like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're just like.
Yeah,
look at
she's
you.
taking off, and I'm like, well, you can run at that pace. I guess I'll be back here.
I was literally gonna ask you like, are you worried? To stay together, and now I feel like you're saying like, I'm scared she might leave me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure we'll run at our own pace, and I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to beat her, right?
Yeah, you got to. Come on.
But no, we're not. I mean, if she wants to run with me, great. I'm just gonna go out there and run and try to put down the best time I can. So
Yeah, I'm super excited to see how that turns out for you. It's gonna be gangster too, cause yours is like 2 weeks before, and I'm gonna just be able to pick your brain. But you
Yeah.
guys, what is the half? 13 miles?
yeah, 13.1.
Yeah.
13.1. What I've not done yet, and we'll do this as like I get closer and work up in mileage, but I haven't done any nutrition prep for the marathon yet.
Yeah, me neither.
Which is tough, dude. That was, at some point we'll move on from the marathon. But when I went through the Grand Canyon, dude, that was part of the training, was like being able to eat food while moving. I mean, you don't have to, like, you could stop, right? But like in
Yeah.
a marathon, you got to keep moving, and so it's like Uncrustables and
Banana.
applesauce,
Yeah.
fruit, yeah, like all these different things, just trying to keep nutrition going. Because I was doing, I've done 10, 15, 20-mile hikes in that prep, just not running the whole time. But yeah, nutrition's,
Yeah. What does that look like for you? Like nutrition, whether it's me working out in the gym, running, it's always been where I've lacked in whatever it is that I'm doing physically.
yeah,
What does that look like for you tuning in your nutrition going into it?
yeah. It's, I mean, a moment ago, I'm just referring to like nutrition during the event, but you're talking about leading up.
Because I think that's just from like hearing athletes, they talk about like a lactic acid
Hmm.
and like bloating and all these different things from the things that you eat. Are you worried about that beforehand? Like, do you want to get as healthy as you can before the race? Or are you just like, ah,
Yes and no, right? Like, I can't say, like, I'm not like super strict on my diet. Like, right now, my goal is to hit 3,500 calories a day, 180, 90 grams of protein, 450 grams of carbs, and then under 100 grams of fat.
you gotta dial it in though. You have
So
goals at least.
we're tracking it. We're tracking the food. We're tracking every meal, just on like a little app on my phone. And so, yeah, trying to stay dialed in. Dude, that's the hardest part. Like,
Yeah,
you could go train for an hour a day or 2 hours a day,
yeah.
but eating 4, 5, 6 meals consistently, that's the hard part.
That's where I struggle.
Yeah, just eating enough.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't know how about you, but like I've never been a big eater, like a big, by any means. I mean, you're a little smoky in you, of course. Everyone's an eater, but
Yeah.
I've never. It's funny. Trina asked me this yesterday. We were talking, and she's like, "How come you don't like enjoy cooking? Like I love to cook." And I'm like, to be honest with you, I just don't love food like that. Like I'm not the type of person who's like, "Wow, put a little bit of parsley on this and a little bit of oregano, the taste." I just never been that type of person.
Yeah.
What about you?
I love to eat, love food, don't love to cook.
Yeah.
So luckily, Isabella,
Yeah, she's
amazing.
Hispanic.
Yep.
Love it.
Amazing cook. She makes great food. She can just, you give her a table of ingredients, she can make you like a
That's
delicious
so
meal out of
nice.
anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, luckily she's a big help in like some of the meal prep
Oh,
and stuff
dude.
like that.
Isn't it interesting how like and I think like this is one thing that I've learned since being with Shireen is if I take the lead in damn near anything, she's like right on my back wanting to do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not the running though. That with that she's like, honestly, babe, I fucking hate running.
I'm out on this one.
You got it. But whether it's like 75 hard or anything, I'm wondering if it's been like the same for you, or if like you start doing something, you know, and not in like a sexualistic way, but like they say the man is the head of the household, right? I find that super accurate when it comes to just like leading by example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if I start vaping, my girl's gonna start vaping, and so that's one thing. Being married, I've had to really um, understand and take notice of like, okay, if I start doing a bad habit, I gotta know that it's probably gonna translate to my girl.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that, or have you felt that? I guess,
100%.
or even a good habit.
I for sure I've noticed it. Yeah, I mean I think this marathon prep is like a prime example. I set this goal and she was like, "Hey, that's a cool goal. I think, let's do that together." And I'm like, that's awesome. Let's do it." And I do have those thoughts. Today we were on our training run, and she, I was in front of her by miracle. This one time I got in front of her. But yeah, I'm running in front of her today, and it's 93 degrees. The sun's beating down. It's hot. I wanted to stop running, and I'm like, she's right behind me. I can't stop running right now. She's
Yeah,
watching me.
yeah.
I can't quit.
You have such a good little accountability partner. It's awesome, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's gangster.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely noticed that, and I do feel that that responsibility to lead. Absolutely.
I like that. I like that. That's super gangster. All right, moving on from the marathon. Me and you always are sitting and we're talking ideas, business, real estate, whatever it might be. Um, one of the speakers that swat up was Cody Sanchez.
Oh, cool.
Oh, dog.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's
dude.
awesome.
Okay, seeing her in person and the energy that she speaks with and honestly, how smart she is, Doug. Like she's pretty smart. Um,
She's brilliant.
it was pretty cool, but I wanted to get your take on this. One of the things that she was saying is, and honestly, I didn't understand that this was her whole mission statement, but it's the idea of buying back Wall Street, right? And getting businesses back in the hands of small business owners. And she was talking about how like that's when America has thrived the most, not when we're under corporate enterprises.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was talking about it, and she was talking about buying businesses and what that took and why you should want to buy a business. And that's something that you and I have talked about a bit. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? And kind of just bang out a little conversation
Yeah.
about that.
Cody's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I love Cody. I got stuck on her YouTube channel last week for, I don't know, a couple hours. I clicked on one video and like went down the whole rabbit hole.
You watch any of her pods?
No, I haven't really seen many of her podcasts, to be honest. I've seen her on some podcasts as a guest, but I haven't seen hers. Would you recommend it?
I've never seen it either.
Oh, okay.
But she was talking about it, and that was kind of one of her points was like, hey, I get to sit down with all of these people who are doing X amount of billions of dollars
Yeah.
on my podcast. And she's like, that's the coolest part about having a podcast.
Yeah. I think, man, her message is super interesting, and I think it's incredible. She definitely talks about like buying businesses as opposed to starting businesses.
Mhm.
I mean, she talks about both, but she's definitely heavy on the buying side.
Yeah.
She always says like, hey, there's all these baby boomers and businesses that are going to be sold, in the near future. I think that's interesting because so many people just want to go and start a business, including myself.
Yeah.
Like it's so tempting and alluring to be like, oh, I'm gonna start my own business. It'll be my baby, all the things. And so, yeah, I think it's interesting that she's such a big proponent of buying businesses that are already succeeding and then just maybe fixing a couple potential issues or adding value and scaling it up. I think the process of like acquisitions is just something that a lot of people don't know about or know that it exists.
Like in the realm of calling, setting up the meetings, whatever it might look like, to go and acquire the business that we're talking about. Like you think people have the misunderstanding that there's just like a business Zillow.
Yeah, I think so. Or it's just maybe it's that like perceived barrier of entry. Like yeah, I could just start a business. I can make a Google page. I can make a website, and then I have a business.
Yeah.
Um, you can make an LLC for $50 or create one for $50.
LegalZoom. Shout out LegalZoom.
Yeah.
This video is sponsored by LegalZoom.
Hey, Jamie, can you pull up?
Nice. No, I agree though, dude. I think even like you and I have talked about this, but like when me and Shireen wanted to start Airbnb arbitrage, it was like start LLC, get the bank account. Okay, now we have to start calling some of these places to essentially have them let us sublease their place out. Obviously, that didn't take off anywhere because the Airbnb market just tanked.
Mhm.
But I think that's a misconception we had of like places are just gonna fucking line up to let us do this. And so, kind of touch on what you mean in terms of business. Like, where have you seen that where people have that misconception or heard it? I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think just talking, I guess it depends who you're around, maybe. But just having conversations with friends, family, current and past coworkers, it seems like buying a business is just something that only people that already have money do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why most people, one, don't even like explore the idea of like, oh, I could buy a business as opposed to starting one. But then two, they're like, oh, I don't have the capital, or that's something that people that already have money do.
Yeah, it's so interesting to, especially you coming from the creative finance like background of understanding. Like, I bet it's funny for you listening to that, or I guess ironic listening to some of those conversations where you're like, you could just get a lender, you just get a private money lender.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because like now that gets my brain thinking of like, well, what does the split look like? Like, what does, Like what does a private money lender on a business look like?
I think that's a great question, and I don't know.
I think so. Like, so Chris and Landon are buying a self storage facility in, I think, Michigan. Yeah, in Michigan. And so they're doing a seller finance model, super gangster, and I forget how much down it is, but it's like, I don't know, 1.5 million or 1.2 million total, with like I think it's like an 8-year balloon or something on it, which is really good because
Hmm.
in the world of commercial real estate, they renew every 5 years. Anyways, our whole goal, or their whole goal, and we helped with this obviously, just trying to push people that way, was how much private money can we get at Squat Up? Like how many
Mm,
private money lenders? So like one of the things we did was we rented, or I said we, but shout out Landon and Chris, but rented the Top Golf suite and literally just had private money lenders and the team in there. And we were
that's
just,
awesome.
it was super cool. And it was this Squat Up was different because one, I realized that all these people are just people. Like, yeah, you might have $100,000 of private money, but you're just a person. Like,
Hmm.
you're a dental hygienist who your husband makes a lot of bread and you guys save a lot of money. And so that was really cool to see that, like, private money, honestly, it comes from relationships. And so I still wonder, though, like, how do you pay these people back? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know what that looks like unless I only know, like, the fix and flip model of, you buy it, build it up, sell it, pay them back. But then at that point, like, what's the goal of?
I think that is super common in the commercial space.
Yeah,
I think that is super common where they're happy just to buy something, hang on to it for 5 years, make improvements, generate revenue, sell it after 5 years, pay back the lender. I think that's super common. Um, if you buy the business, because I know Cody Sanchez talks about it, like if you buy the business well enough, or if you see the value add opportunity, well, then you can increase revenue, and ideally, that's enough to pay that person back.
yeah,
In a dream situation.
yeah.
Um,
I think you have to get. Well, you don't have to, but I think it would be really hard to get a loan for that, like from a bank. I
hmm
think I think working out terms with the owners, I think that's a solid like strategy. I think that's the way that I would have to go about it. Cause
These are probably great points for us to come back to on, honestly, or like go do some homework on and come back to.
yeah,
Because
definitely down.
I bet that there are, I would almost guarantee that there's lenders you could go to and say, like, hey, I own this business. Here's the financials. And then be able to get funding for that. Like, hey, here's the current financials. Like,
Yeah,
um, and then be able to get that funding.
yeah,
Something we should definitely look at.
yeah, definitely. It's a whole different realm, man. It definitely is a whole different realm. Um,
But it sounds easier. It sounds less stressful, less clunky to work out terms with the current owner.
yeah, because you're already having a cash producing asset rather than like a single family house. It's been owner occupied. Maybe it rents for $2,000, and your spread's probably like $300.
But you
But
run into that issue that everyone at some point wants to be cashed out.
yeah, so this is what I was talking about with this guy at Squat Up because he wants to start buying. Right now, the craze is co-living. Right, everyone's wants to be a co-living owner, which is cool. Like the spread on it is 800 to $2,400 or whatever it might be. But he wants to do co-living, and he owns a solar business, or he's the manager of a solar team. He does solar, and he was asking me, like, people. He's like, this is what I want to do, and I asked him, I'm like, so what's your plan? Like, do you want to use your own money, private money? He's like, everyone's telling me, I don't even need to use my own money. And I was like, dude, listen, if you have the money to put down 35 G's on a property, I was like, what you could do is, okay, do the private money and then pay 5,000 a month and pay it off like really fast. I said, but the problem some people run into is they're constantly refinancing their private money lenders, and you just don't have an opportunity to make like any real
It's hard to pull any capital out or pay yourself
Yeah.
really, pull any money out of the business.
Yeah, and then at that point, it's like, and this is what I've come to understand is real estate now isn't about cash flow, bro. Like if you want to do cash flow, you have to be in the multifamily space.
Yep.
If you want a security deposit, a piggy bank, a something like that, single family, right? You have
Yep.
10 of them. And even Pace said, bro, like, and this is from someone who owns like 100 plus single family homes. He's like, don't own over 20. He's like, just don't do it. It's not worth it. He's like, I did it because I did it essentially. But he's like,
It's not worth the headache.
Yeah, not worth the headache. And so that's what I think about too is like, that's the point to where you're paying down. I mean, you can get to a point in 15 years, 20 years where you pay down so much that now it's completely paid off and you're just but that's it that's a 20-year play.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a and I think
You have folks like Zach Keeps that have, 300 doors, 85% equity.
all exactly that's gangster, bro. That's so gangster. But you have to be in it for the long term. And I think a lot of people and I'd like to know what you think about this. I think a lot of people get into real estate because they think it's going to be a get quick or a get rich quick type of sector.
100%. I think you're spot on. I mean, people think you'll buy a rental and then just make $1,000 a month, owning a rental property. And like you and I both know, it's not the case. Looking at hundreds, if not thousands of deals. Um, and yeah, the cash flow, I mean, you're lucky to get like $200 a month cash
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
Like a lot of properties are break even, a lot are negative cash flow depending on rates. But yeah, a lot of people think, yeah, I'll buy a house or a couple houses and then that'll replace my income and we'll be chilling. And yeah, it's not the case. But like you said, if the goal is long-term appreciation and you're willing to do that 20-year play, then yeah, you can build some serious
Yeah.
wealth holding real estate.
That's what I've looked at now, especially in the past 6 months, especially in the past 2 weeks. I was like, okay, 26-year-old Nate, no real estate. Okay, but 45-year-old Nate, now I own something for like my plan is to buy two properties next year. One with my VA loan and then one sub two.
Nice.
I figure I have a VA loan, bro. I need to use it. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Um,
Definitely use it.
and I just think like, okay, 40 or 20 years from now, let's just say I pay him off 10 years early, right? Extra payment every quarter, whatever that looks like. That's where the cash flow fuck you money comes in of like, hey, I have like really, bro, I don't want to have more than 10 single family. At one point in time, I'm like, I want 50. But it's like, no, dude,
Yep.
if I had 10 single family houses, they'll probably all be ranging by the time they appreciate in between like 400 and 800,000. So we'll call it like 600,000 times 10. It's like 6 million. Was that right? 6 million worth of just single family. That's a good little nest egg. Like that's a good little nest egg, solid. I say little. I bet you probably like 1% of America has something like that.
Yep.
But that's where my mind shifted of like buy really good deals, cherry pick them. I literally work in a wholesaling business where if there's a good deal, I can move on it. Like
Yep.
now it's just putting myself in the position to be able to do so. And yeah, I just hadn't thought like that prior to. It was about getting rich off the cash flow.
Yeah, I think, man, it's tough too because there's a lot more that goes into home ownership than people think. Like, it's not like you just buy this house, whether you live in it or get tenants in there, and then that's it. Like, it's just, okay, my mortgage is 2,000, they're paying me 2,200, we're good to go. Like, there's still so many other things. The house is going to break.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have some sort of safety net, 5, 10 grand for every property, then it can be a really stressful place to be.
Yeah, bro, 100%. That's like one thing that I learned in underwriting is to make room for the capital expenditures, right? That treasure chest. Because before it was like, hey, rents for 2 grand, mortgage is 1,900, and then also 10% property management.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you're saying, like there's so many different little things that come into like owning a house that you just don't think about. You just don't know what you don't know. Like
Yeah.
when we first got this house, or when we first started renting this house, think the first week the hot water heater blew.
Yep.
In my head, doing real estate, I'm like, that sucks for the owner, dude. Like, that's tough. That's 3, 4, I don't know, maybe 2 to 4 grand.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Pineda said it, but like, if your active income isn't where it needs to be, don't even fucking think about owning a rental property.
I agree. Or I mean, I think honestly, a home in general, which this has been a big shift for me the last few years because the first house I bought, I owned it for 3 years, and I still miss her. I still have, I'm like, man, maybe I should have held on to it. But
Is it
in that,
Indy?
in Indy,
Nice.
yep, back in Indy, first house I bought, Broad Ripple, Indiana, and cute little like 3 bed, 2 bath house, great location, like amazing location to be honest. Bought it in 2018, and so I owned it for 3 years. But to your point, in that 3 years, I replaced the water heater. Um, I had work done on the water heater and then it had to be replaced. Ejector pump in the basement went out, had to be replaced. New AC unit, new roof, all in 3 years. And so to your point, and I had a home warranty, but it would cover, the AC was like almost 10 grand. They would cover the parts, but not the labor. And so I'm still thousands of dollars out of pocket. So all of those hidden cost or unexpected costs of owning a property, I think a lot of people don't factor in or don't think it'll happen. Um, and then luckily that property still ended up being a great investment. The market from 2018 to 2021
Oh, it went crazy.
went crazy. I ended up choosing to sell before we moved out here to Phoenix, um, but in that time, yeah, like a lot of things had to get done. Insurance helped out on the roof.
Nice. Solid.
Didn't cover all of it, but covered a good chunk. So, but still, thousands of dollars out of pocket here and there, just doing
It
little
adds
things.
up, dude. Yeah, it definitely adds up. And you don't have the. So wait, what's your? Because you said you've had a little shift in view. So from there, what's been the shift?
So since I sold that property, I've been renting since. My immediate plan was like, I'm gonna sell this house. I'm gonna move to Arizona. I'm gonna buy something when I get there. And then in that process of going back to being a renter, but renting a home instead of an apartment, just because it's for the dogs and everything,
It's just better.
better lifestyle
Yeah.
fit. But I was like, I wake up with so much less stress. I don't care if the roof falls off. I don't care if the AC goes out. I'll let my landlord know, and they'll come out and fix it. The downside is I'm paying $90,000 a year or for the 3 years I'll live in this house, I'll pay $90,000 in rent, 30 grand a year. So there's something to be said for that, right?
Yeah.
But the peace of mind is amazing, and I think.
Oh, dude, what happened? Hold on. Do you want? Don't use. Why would I want to use that? Oh, good. We're in there. Let's
Nice.
go. We're
Cool,
good.
cool, cool.
Come on. What's up?
What was I saying?
You were saying there's something to be said about paying the rent and essentially paying someone else's mortgage.
Yeah, so I mean that's the trade-off, right?
I think that's so. Me and Shereen were having a conversation. Not to cut you off, but
No, please.
we were having a conversation where I was saying that's what they sell you on. Like that's what. Because I've had a big change in philosophy as well, especially with the way that rates are in the market. That's what I was telling Shereen is like you got to understand for the first 10 years, 8 years, really 15, you're paying majority interest. And so like yeah, you know what? You are paying someone's mortgage, but if you don't plan to hold a property for 15 years, like there's really I don't want to say no benefit, but like we broke it down where I was like, okay, let's say we were looking at houses in this neighborhood. If we bought a house, there's one on the corner, $480,000. The total PITI on it was like $3,300 a month.
Yep.
We rent this house for $2,000, and
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so you add that, so there's $1,300 a month times 12. What does it come out to? Whatever that number is, right? That times 7 years, because we're gonna have to hold it for 7 years, or
Yep.
you end up like a low equity situation, which we know all about.
Yep.
Okay, you sell the house and you make 50 to 100 grand, but you've spent an extra 50 to 80 grand extra
Mm-hmm.
for a house that you essentially rented, but you got a loan on. So my mentality with it is much like yours. Is like, hey, if we're not gonna hold a property, we're not gonna buy a property. Like, I think it's super dumb, number one, to buy new cars all the time and have a new loan out all the time. Like, now I got a year left on my car and I'm like, dude, I'm Ian. This is sick. I do not want.
Keeping it for as long as
Yeah,
you can.
dude. Whereas before, like, just being young and not understanding finances, thought that was cool. Same with houses. You see people who, and no knock to people, like, if you need to sell and go move somewhere else or whatever the case may be. But my biggest thing, like, I was talking to my sister, and I told her, hey, when you guys sell, they live in Santan, just rent it out. You
Yeah.
guys have like a 3% rate. Rent it out.
Keep it.
That is a nest egg for you guys. You can pass that down, like, the whole nine. And so I think now my mentality of what me and Shireen were talking about is if you're not planning to hold real estate for the long haul, don't hold it at all.
Yeah, I think it's great advice. I mean, I think so. The shift for me is not like that. I don't think real estate's a good investment. I think real estate's an amazing investment for majority of people that are not going to spend the time to go and either like they don't have the time or don't want to spend the time to build a business or find where to invest their money. I think that buying real estate's a great place
Yeah.
to keep your money. Like
100%.
it's easy.
The tax incentives are crazy.
Yeah, like it's pretty straightforward. You can buy a house, get tenants in it, like all of that. It makes a lot of sense. Um, and I have some friends that they have a great strategy where they'll do a 5% down payment on a conventional loan
Nice.
every year, every other year, and just buy a house, move into it, live there for a year or two, move out, buy a new one, get tenants in there. And so they have 3 properties looking at getting their fourth right
Dude,
now.
it's so gangster.
And you know, I think they pay $1,000 a month out of pocket to own these 3 properties to control a $1.5 million worth of property.
It's so funny because, like, it's not glitzy glammy, but that motherfucker works, dog.
Yeah.
And that's what I've come to learn is, like, when you do it that way, when you do it one property a year over the course of consistency compounds, over the course of 10 years, and you have 8, 10 properties, compared to some of these people who go and buy 10 properties in a year and you've never bought any property. I like that, bro. I think it's super gangster, and I think for the average, well, above average, because you have to, like, I think you have to be a little bit above average to have that mentality of like, hey, this is what we're gonna do.
Oh, definitely.
But
And to
I
have
think-
the finances
yeah,
to support that,
exactly. I think that's a gangster play. I think
Mhm.
that's a super gangster play for sure.
right? Up
I
to your
mean-
first 10, right? You hold 10 properties that way.
Yeah, I think that's super gangster.
But the shift for me at least is like monthly recurring revenue is kind of the cash flow in a business essentially. Like cash
Yeah.
flow is still the name of the game
Yeah.
to a point. I don't think it's like don't invest in real estate. Like hold some real estate,
Yeah.
but then also have a business that is generating revenue
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree. I think real estate is like a hammer, and sometimes you need a Phillips head screwdriver. You know what I mean? And I think for a long time people thought, "You're Giorgio going crazy."
is that how it is?
Yeah, people thought you have to use a hammer for everything, and I credit Rich Dad Poor Dad, bro. I think everyone read that book and was like,
No, for sure. Got to buy property. Yeah.
"Got it,
Gotta buy property.
got it."
And I do still think I know we've like gone a couple different directions as far as like the viewpoint on investing in real estate. I do think for most people it's still a great play.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
For most people, the only thing I would say is just make sure you live in that thing where you hold it for longer than 7, 8 years.
yeah.
If you-
Don't expect to just buy a few properties and then you're rich.
Yeah, that's not the way it works at all. And once you get to that point, and oh man, dude, it's funny as you get older, you start understanding that everything's like that. Like everything is a 7, 8 year wait. It's
Yeah.
it's so easy to get caught up in this microwave mentality of this generation of like you're 26, you're 30, you should be doing this already. It took me a year to do this, and here's my OnlyFans, whatever it might be. But to really look at it, and that's why we laugh about it now, but like, bro, consistency does compound
For
in
sure.
whatever you do, whether it's
Whether it's good or bad.
good or bad, exactly. And so I think if I were to give any advice to anyone, it's just like be consistent with the strategy that you put forward. Obviously, there's going to be turns of, hey, you know what? Maybe we don't buy this type of property. Maybe we do this. But just be consistent in what your vision is and know the long term play. Because nothing's ever a short term play. Ever, bro. Like, the reason I got into real estate is I'm like, oh, dude, I'm going to wholesale about 2 properties by the end of the year, be up 50 G's, baby.
Yep.
Not at all how it goes, man. And it's not until it was really like my second year that I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see a little bit of money. Starting to see some money here, some money there. Deals are closing. And being on the other side of it too, it's like, okay, it just takes time, brother. It's so crazy. And you look at like anything, whether it's buying businesses, or I even look at like Kevin Cho, right? Like even he took just a different path. Was like, nah, this isn't for me. And so I think partly too is, as humans, we have to have grace with ourselves. Of like I tell a story of like me getting my private pilot license. I wanted to be a pilot. Got out of school. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be a pilot. I'm gonna get my private pilot license. I'm gonna go to college, be a pilot. After about 15 hours in the air, brother, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I want to do this for a job. Like, this is such a gangster thing to do. I definitely want to continue doing this. But to say I want to earn a living doing this, nah.
Not it. But you don't know until you try. So
Yeah.
at least you tried it.
Yeah.
You went and experienced it, gave it 15 hours, and
Yeah.
and that was it. Luckily, that was enough for you to be like, okay, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Instead of spending hundreds or thousands of hours doing it.
Yeah, I spent thousands of dollars, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But it was worth it, bro. It was a great experience. And to know, like, this is what I said when I was in the Navy, is like, I know what I don't want my life to look like. You know what I mean? Like, having to be told what to do, when to do it, where to do it. That was one thing that I think a good mentality that came out of the Navy is like, hey, I'm going to go, I'm going to do my time, I'm going to do what I got to do. But I know that I don't want my life to look like this. And so I think doing the pilot, like doing my pilot stuff, being like, I don't know that I want life to look like this. Instead, I see there's little rental spots here, and okay, you could rent out a freaking hangar for this much. Damn, what would that look like? You know what I mean? And that's just like my entrepreneurial brain.
I'll say that business side of it.
Yeah, and that's my goal. So one of the things they talked about is your Mount Everest, and bro, that's for the past 2.5 years. That's had my attention so hard. Of like, man, I really want to own planes and rent them out to instructors that they can use the plane, pay the plane off essentially, and like either a fix and flip model type of deal or like a buy and hold model type of deal, right? But with planes, and then also developing hangars, bro. I keep talking about this.
And no, you mentioned this,
bro.
to me.
I want to do like out of the Squad Up Summit. That has become more and more clear to me that like, hey, I want to do that. Like, I definitely want to do that, and it's just a matter of time. Sequencing. You've read Your Next 5 Moves by Pat David?
No.
One of the things he talks about is the importance of sequencing, and for example, the sequencing in tying your shoe. Put a sock on. Put the shoe on. Tighten the laces. Do the bunny knot. Tuck the laces in. Whatever it looks like. That's the sequencing. But if you did tie the laces, put the sock on, bunny knot, you know what I mean? And so life is like that. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out is the sequencing from where I'm at now to the steps that's going to take to get there. Because it'd be very easy to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go learn all about it. I'm going to whatever. But that's not the proper sequencing for where my life is. And so that's why I'm building this vision out of like, okay, this year is about stacking bread. Just getting so comfortable that I can make risky decisions. Next year, start buying property. I haven't got to year 3 yet because I don't really know what that looks like. But year 5 to be able to say, hey, okay, let's start developing some shit. We've got enough relationships that we can get the private money. We can get this. You have enough credibility, enough publicity, followers that it's like, hey, here's what I'm doing, and to have kind of like a movement.
To go back, because you mentioned it again right there, like the financial component, right? Like either you're going to have to bring the money to the table or find a lender of some sort to build hangars or whatever it may be. When you guys were at Squat Up Summit, to circle back around, you said at Topgolf we had a room full of private money lenders and then our team. How was that, if you're able to pull back the curtain, how was that group compiled, and like how were those people brought together? How were you like, these people are private money lenders, let's get them in this room?
So, birds of a feather flock together, right? So, one of the private money lenders is a lender on the women's sober living facility.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we met her in line to get the badges, and she had a friend who's also a private money lender, and then Chris and Landon had been creating relationships up to um, Squat Up Summit. So when the time came, it was just about building rapport, and obviously, there's Landon said something super interesting to me. Um, he said, "Hey, I want you to listen when I talk and understand that we can talk about business later. Right now is about making the impression. It's about building that rapport." He's like, people buy and sell from people that they like. He's like, so it's just about not being fake, but showing people why they should lend to you, and not just because of the numbers in this, but because they have an affinity and a relationship to you. And so, to answer your question, seeds had been planted prior to Squat Up, and so the fields were just ripe for harvest. But then also with that, there was people that just kind of were in that same sect and were like, "Hey, I'm a private money lender too. Like, love to come hang out, talk shop with you guys." And so that's how that happened.
Okay.
And the conversations were cool, bro. Like, it's just interesting for me, at least, growing up. Mom worked, dad worked, blue collar, and hearing people talk about money so loosely, it was a little humbling, where you're just like, okay, that's what this looks like.
$100,000 is like no big deal to you.
Yeah.
Like you have millions or hundreds of $1,000s
Yeah.
sitting aside that you could deploy.
It was super interesting, bro. It was a wake up call of like, oh, there's a lot of money in the world.
Mm-hmm.
People that I wouldn't think had it like that have it like that, and rather than putting it in the S&P, they're trying to find deals to put it in because they think it's a more secure sector,
Mm-hmm.
which it can be. And so, to answer your question, that's how that came about. And it was super cool, man. It was really, really cool to be a part of that, and to put that in the memory bank. You know what I mean? Of like, okay, that's what these conversations look like. That's what it costs to have these conversations. Cause like, bro, a coffee at that place was like $6. So I'm thinking in my head, like, that's a good ROI of, hey, we'll rent this out for, I don't know, probably anywhere between 250 to $500. Had to be, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Topgolf suite in a hotel, and it was a good learning experience to understand how to facilitate rapport and connections. Like, everyone was out in the lobby talking, but to like have that own space of people like that, it was cool, bro. It was super cool.
I don't know if you're gonna do like a separate piece on just Squat Up. You talked about Cody Sanchez, David Goggins. What would be, maybe it's one of those, what would be your biggest takeaway or like favorite part of that whole
That was a good one.
summit?
That's a great question. I would say there was a few different. So, do you know Dean Graciosi?
Mm-hmm.
He spoke as well. Another dude, I forget his name. He was really cool, but um, this was more so of favorite pieces of information. I wouldn't say necessarily like at a favorite person, right? But I just
Mm-hmm.
took something from everyone. And what this dude said, I'll tell you his name after. Um, but he said you have to be in alignment with your assignment. So he was God based, and he spoke on Sunday morning, and he's like, God's put some desire in your heart, and if you're not wanting to do something, it's because you're not in alignment with your assignment. And obviously there comes a level of discipline and stuff, but you should wake up ready to get after it, essentially. And if you're not feeling that, maybe because you're not in alignment with your assignment. And so that stuck out to me really, really hard because I'm like, man, waking up doing dispositions, a lot more in alignment with my assignment
Mm-hmm.
compared to doing acquisitions. Because you're just hunting, bro. You're hunting nonstop. It's a lot of days you come up with no food.
Most days.
Most days, exactly. The majority of days you come up with no food, and so that was cool to understand, like this little mentality shift that I've had since the new year of doing dispo. We're like, hey, I'm down to do this now. Like it's not. We've had conversations, and it's no secret to anyone that like real estate is fucking hard, and you have times where you're like, nah. And at the beginning of the year, I was kind of having that feeling of like, should I get W-2? Like, is this
I hear you.
is this what I want to be doing? And then switching to dispo and like, oh, okay, I can do this. Like, I like doing this, actually. I have, number one, responsibility from other people. Like, other people are counting on me, so I have to show up. And I like that feeling. Pressure makes diamonds, baby. And
It's true though.
yeah, facts. And then just knowing that, like, hey, I'm great at building relationships, and that's what this is about. I just have to build relationships with people and connect with people who actually want to buy real estate, not convincing someone to sell me real estate.
Yeah.
Easy money. Now, it comes with its own array of challenges, but if I would say anything, that clicked with me, the alignment with your assignment, because I felt that internally of like, that's why my mindset has shifted. Um, Dean Graciosi, what I'm coming to find out, brother, is a lot of these big hitters that make a lot of money, they've all developed real estate. And so one of the reasons that I walked away from Squat Up so rock hard to develop hangers and other things is because that's been something in my back burner, so to speak. But he was talking about this deal that he did. It was like a 10 parcel piece of land that he sold off. He developed it, the whole nine, whatever. Anyways, and he ended up making like multi-million dollars, right? His first multi-million dollar deal he ever did was from a real estate development. And he's a life coach now.
Okay. Interesting.
And another dude who is in sub 2, and he has the number one restaurant in Philadelphia, just made it. It was a senior care facility, and they turned it into a boutique hotel.
Okay.
Bought it for like 1.5 million, put like 10 million into it. It is valued at like 35 million now.
Oh my goodness.
And so this had my wheels turning.
That's a
I'm
massive
like,
vision right there.
brother, right?
That's crazy.
Had my wheels turning. I'm like, okay, wholesaling's cool, dispo's cool, baby steps,
Yeah, it's a starting spot. Yeah.
But that had me walk away from Squat Up like, okay, I want to make that type of money. This is how I'm seeing people are making that type of money. Also from Cody, hearing about the business acquisitions and dispositions and seeing, okay, I want to make that money. This is how people in business are making that money. So that was a big takeaway. And then Goggins, bro. Just Goggins.
Just the juice from Goggins.
Oh, so I didn't even tell you. I wanted to save this. So he's giving this hardcore speech, right? He's talking about that race that he did, the 7
bad
miles.
water.
Yeah. And the 40% thing. And no shade at all. But this dude in the front starts having a seizure. And Goggins just came from a week of being a paramedic with the Chicago paramedic team. And so, bro, it was actually really, really impressive. Before anyone, he's like, gets up, hey, move. Anyways, the medical team comes and
Oh my goodness.
all this, right? And that was pretty impressive to see. Like, obviously he's a SEAL, but just to see his attention to detail, and like something was off in the crowd, and he just, before anyone, bro, he knew it. It was like super crazy. But
That's wild.
David Goggins will just do that. Yeah, David Goggins will just do that to you, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was super funny. They sat down and Pace is like, all right. So like as we were saying, Goggins is like, hey dude, that's kind of hard to rebound from. Let me catch my breath.
Yeah, let me get back in. Get back in the zone.
But that was pretty cool. So I don't know if I had one piece that really stuck out to me, but I had multiple pieces that I took with me and was like, okay,
Here's how I can apply that to
this.
these next couple years of goals that I have.
Yeah, exactly.
Give you a little bit more clarity.
Exactly. And I guess that was the biggest thing that I walked away from with it is gaining more clarity in what the vision looks like, what the marathon mentality looks like, and understanding, because I knew this prior to, but it solidified that like I don't want to fucking own 50 single family homes. You know what I'm saying? Like if anything, like
sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, bro, I'm down to own a multifamily. Like
Yeah.
that's gangster. I'll own like 50 units. I'll own, shit like that. But
50 separate homes would be
that's a lot, brother.
Be a lot, man. You have to have a really good manager that hopefully wasn't draining you.
Yeah, it would be tough. But yeah, there's that. What was I gonna say? I was gonna ask you, bro. I know we've talked about it, but you mentioned it earlier about coming out here to Arizona. We've talked about it, but like, I guess I'm looking for maybe a piece of information or like guidance on maybe someone's in that same spot and they're like, they want to make the move somewhere or they want to do something. Like, what was it that pushed you to the point where you're like, hey, dude, let's try something out. Like, let's pack up the dogs. Let's pack up the old lady. Let's go.
Yeah. You actually mentioned this to go back to something you said here not too long ago. So you said I knew like some of the things that I didn't want, which I think is super important to like identify things that you absolutely like non-negotiables. Like these things cannot happen in my life. I will not live this life. And so like ever since I don't know, man, like I don't know the age. Ever since I was younger, I never felt like Indiana. Like I'm from Indianapolis, or a little bit outside of Indianapolis, a small suburb, and it just never seemed like the place that I was going to spend my whole life for like whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like it was fine. Like I still love Indy. Everyone I care about is there, my friends and family. So it was one of those things for me where it was like a non-negotiable in my life is that I will move out of this city and at least experience something else. And so, I like to travel, and so I'd gone on some trips, came out here to Phoenix. Been several places, and Phoenix and Colorado were two places I thought were really cool and just kind of like fit what I was looking for in life. Mm-hmm. Like I like an active lifestyle, being outside. I have two dogs. I could take them into the mountains and do shit like that in either place.
The laws are great.
Yeah, laws are beneficial, and I've battled some of that in Indy. And so, yeah. So all of that was like part of the reason why. And so, we tried some different places out or like visited different places, settled on Phoenix because we had some good friends here. But it was hard. Like it is tough to, like I said, everyone I care about is in Indy. My parents had moved to Florida right before I left. And so that helped a little bit to be like, okay, they're taking the next step in their life, going into like towards retirement and everything. So that definitely helped. But our plan is kind of already in motion. I'd sold my house. We were in the prospecting places to move to. And but it was tough. Like we moved out here. Luckily, we knew people here already. Mm-hmm. We had like a small group of friends. So it wasn't like we knew nobody. But it is tough leaving. I lived in Indy for 26 years, 27 years. And so, yeah, picking up and moving, it's tough. But I think anyone, if you're considering it, like, give it a shot. Like, my mentality was, okay, if we move and I hate it, I can move right back.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
My life is still, like, everyone I know, they're still there. So I don't know. I think it was just take the chance. It was a non-negotiable for me where I'm like, I want to try these different things and have these different experiences. And so, yeah, it's been nothing short of amazing. I have, like, not for a second, maybe the first 2 or 3 months we were out here, I was maybe a little homesick or, I couldn't just go see my grandma or whoever it was when I wanted to. But yeah, dude, it's been nothing short of amazing, and you can travel and go see the people you care about.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I think for anyone considering it, like, save up some money. It's expensive to move. Ideally find a place you care about, or you think is a good fit for you and like your lifestyle, and then give it a shot. And if you don't like it, you can always move back home or move somewhere else. Try something different.
I agree. That is big, bro. You can always move back, but you can never do it again for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's super big. What was it that what was the distinction between here and Colorado that you were like Arizona? You wanted to sweat your balls off in the summer?
It was man. So yeah, that was like a tough thing to decide, right? And both places are cool. I still might want to move to Colorado at some point.
Yeah.
I think Colorado's awesome.
You moved here 3 years ago, eh?
Coming up on 3 years, yeah.
Nice. After you finish this, I got to tell you something funny, but keep going.
Yeah. So, I mean, a big part of it was that we did know some people here, and so we'd come out to visit. Came to our like good friend Cam and Jess, came to their wedding, and kind of like got a chance to really check out the city well. And we went to Denver one time, checked it out in a similar way, but knew no one there. Funny enough, I have a few people I know in Denver now, so we'd be in a similar situation. But yeah, that was a big part of it. And then the cold weather, dude.
Yeah.
Being from the Midwest, I was just
done with it.
Yeah, just sick of the cold weather. So it was like, oh, it doesn't snow there. Perfect.
Yeah.
If we want to go see snow, we can travel to it and go check it out.
That's funny. It's not anything I even thought about. So when I got out of the Navy, this was like at the beginning of my real estate journey, I would say. But there's this program called, oh my goodness, I'm gonna draw a blank here. What was it called? Essentially, the Navy allows you to do up to 6 months of the end of your contract. 6 months at the end of your contract to do an internship. And so I was going to do an internship as a real estate agent. And that was kind of like we were on deployment. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad at the beginning of deployment. And I'm like, I'm going to be a real estate agent.
I think you would be a great agent.
I think I would be too. But I don't
know if it's the best fit for your skills.
Yeah,
like, or maybe not the best highest use.
It doesn't get me hard. That's just my new saying. But it doesn't get me hard to go show houses. Like, that doesn't, like, get me excited. Like, oh, man, I'm going to go show houses. Now being at the place where I'm at. You know what I mean? I'm just like, but I do think I would kill. I do think I would kill for sure.
You like putting the deals together. You're great at the relationship aspect. Like, yeah, you would kill for sure. But
yeah, I think for sure. And just mobbing people around on the WRX. Come on, that's got to be a little bit of pub, you know?
Absolutely.
But anyways, point being is Shereen and I, we wanted to go to Colorado. And we wanted to go to Denver. And this is the same time you wanted to go to Denver.
Okay.
Like literally 3 years ago. I think in August. August will be 3 years that I've been out. But around this time was when I started putting in my package to do it, right? Obviously it didn't get accepted, and then I cracked my ankle, so I, was out of commission until big change of plans. But I was thinking about Colorado the same aspect of like, man, dude, that would be so cool to be up there. Hadn't even thought about the weather, to be honest. I've been to Denver like one time at that point, but I just thought it was pretty funny. It's almost like we were destined to be, brother.
Yeah,
we
hell yeah.
Destined to be. Come on now.
That'd be funny if we ended up meeting in Denver.
Yeah, no shit. What's crazy is the Denver market is actually
super hot.
Yeah,
crazy hot.
Crazy hot. A couple of my boys. Shout out Alex Kaminsky, the homie. I would honestly say he's one. It's who not how, right? He's one person that really encouraged me and supported me in the beginning of the real estate journey. Whenever I went to WealthCon, I met him, did an interview with him, just like quick, like 60-second interview, middle of the hallway shit.
Love it.
And bro, I talk to him almost every day.
Really?
Bro, he's
awesome.
Such a good dude, bro. Such a good dude. But anyways, he lives up in Denver, and they have like 3 flips going on in the area. And bro, I've never seen someone, obviously maybe I haven't been around that much, but the amount of capital he's able to raise, like, he's a gangster. He's a true gangster. And it was pretty cool. This is how good of a friend he was, bro. Or is. We're at Squad Up Summit, and he's putting me in 3-way group chats. Hey, my buddy Nate's at Squad Up. You should meet up with him. So I met up with like 4 people that he sent my way.
That's awesome.
Just creating connections. And those are the type of people you want in your life, dude. Like, if you're listening to this, Alex, you're a gangster, bro. I really appreciate you. For real, for real. But all that to say, Denver's sick. Glad you moved down here. So, like, the whole reason I named the podcast, like, How About Now? Because it's like, okay, what are you doing now? And so we talked about you doing marathon training. I wonder why this keeps doing that. anyways, you're training for the half marathon at the end of the year. But I don't know. You keep saying like, if it goes well, I will. I want to hear you commit to at least a marathon at the end of the year. Is that the plan?
So yeah. So the plan is to run a marathon at the end of the year. I just don't have a marathon picked.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, I'm targeting like the October, November timeframe. Yeah, if we can find something in October,
That'd be nice.
I think the Vegas marathon might be October. So I'll take a look, at,
Yeah.
and kind of see like what's going on at that point. But yeah, that's the goal, man, right now. So half marathon in May, and then ultimately by the end of the year, a full marathon.
Nice. I like that. And so, what other than that, or is that like the main goal? Like, what's next for Mr. Bolton?
Yeah,
GQ modeling.
GQ modeling. No. So two big things that I'd like to accomplish this year. And I unfortunately on this podcast won't be able to go as deep as I'd like to. So maybe part two if we
Part
get,
two for sure.
Yeah,
He's
part
gonna be a
two.
recurring guest, no doubt.
Yeah. So I had alluded to it or mentioned it earlier, but a monthly recurring revenue business is a huge goal of mine. And so whether that's buying or starting, but the direction is leaning towards starting a business. I think this first business I'm going to start, we'll get deeper into it. I'll give more details at some point. This first business is something I will be starting from scratch, and it'll be like a small team at first. And then down the road, ideally, I would like to be able to purchase some other businesses as well. But this first one, yeah, it's going to be. Man, I can't say as much as I'd like to right now. But yeah, so the goal this year.
So you want to lock that down, or you want to actually, like, is it that you want to lock it down, or you want to purchase it / start it this year?
Start it this year.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, I guess that's all I could really say on that for now.
Yeah, we'll keep coming back. We'll look at this in 6 months and.
But yeah, so the goal with that is obviously, I'll give this. It's in the marketing space. So obviously, I have a background in digital marketing, and sales, and so we're gonna put together these skills combined with the need that I see every single day when I'm having these conversations, and try to put together something that is like genuinely beneficial for people when they're using it, and not just like the idea of like, oh, you're going to get more business or more people are going to find you, but like legitimately providing a good product that people want to use.
I like that.
So.
I like that. There's a book I'm reading right now. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. And it sounds a little cliche, but one of the principal values is you should give that of which you receive in value in return. You should never. He calls it the forming substance of the world, and it's like the idea of. The best way to explain it would be like almost like what's it called when you envision something. It's a new thing that people are all into.
Like virtual reality,
No.
augmented reality.
No.
Oh, okay.
Like it starts with an M. I'm drawing a blank here. Where you where you get a vision of something and
Manifest.
Manifest. There we go.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like in the realm of manifesting. But anyways, his whole point is like you should never. If you're a hunter, and I have a piece of expensive colliery, right? And it's worth $300, but you have no use for it, it's not a good trade. But if I have a gun, and you have use for a gun, but it's only worth $5, that's the exchange of value. And so what I'm hearing, my whole point in this is, from what I'm hearing of what you're saying, is like you want to be able to actually provide value in a space that you haven't seen that type of value being provided.
Yeah, not that value doesn't exist. Maybe either those people have not yet found that value they're looking for, like the end buyer. But there's a massive need, and as everything goes digital, like the need's only going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And so whether you like it or not, like as a business owner in 2025, you have to be online. And so there's a massively underserved group of people that want to be represented online or found online, but they don't know how to make that happen because they run a business. They've been doing this for 15, 20 years, and they want to be found online, but they don't know how that works.
Yeah. I think like something you and I have talked about is like a social media and that's hard to do in itself because you have to get there's so many different pieces. You have to get videographers, editors, someone to post the content, right? And then like how many can you scale at once? But I do think, and I'm on board with you, that that's the way of the future is recurring revenue. Like, as in acquisitions, when you're in acquisitions and it's a sales job, you're hunting for every month. But to be able to say like, hey, if we score 10 clients, not to say that we shouldn't keep pushing for more clients, but like we're
Sure.
good. We're good at 10. Like everyone, we walk away with 10 G's, 20 G's, whatever that is. I like where your head's at. I think that's the way of the future, and I think that's why a lot of people do like school groups and Discords.
Well, like a subscription based. I mean, it seems everything's going that way, right?
Yeah.
Like subscription based. People even talk about like subscription based, like car ownership and stuff like that. So it's
that's leasing.
yeah, essentially. Yeah,
That's leasing.
Yeah.
I mean, legit.
On some month to month basis, but yeah. So I forget what I was gonna say. What you just said, bro.
Yeah, it's all good. I think we're probably about like an hour and a half into this. Probably realistically, we're probably about an hour and 45 minutes because the first one.
Missed the first bit.
But yeah, dude, I'd love to have you back. It just feels like we're just having a regular little conversation that we have anyways.
You're just not cutting my hair this time. That's the only difference.
If anyone's wondering why his hair looks so good, number one, number two, he put some sauce in it today. Did you put that clay in it that we were talking about?
Got a little clay in it that we talked about.
How do you like it?
It's been good, dude. I don't need nearly as much as I like
thought.
Yeah, like the first time and my hair's just like sticking straight up. I'm like, I did not need that much, dude.
It's nice though, huh?
Yeah, it's smooth.
It holds just like a little hold. It's like almost like day 2 hair.
Yeah.
Of like not showering.
I wake up looking crazy though. Like if I go to bed with that in my hair, I wake up looking crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been smooth. Yeah,
Nice.
Shout out my barber.
Yeah, that guy's fucking dope. I'm getting it. By the way, dude, this probably by the end of the month, this will be curly.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Get a perm?
Yeah, I'm gonna perm it up.
Oh, I'd love to see this.
I haven't done it in 3 years, but going back to version 2,
I'd love to see it.
Victor 2, but yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah, dude, I think that's about it. You down to go kick it?
Let's do it, bro.
All right, brother. That's a pleasure.
Yeah, banger of a podcast. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, bang it.
I look forward to part 2.
All right, brother. Peace.
Peace.